Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Yashodanandana Brajadana Randana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pinandi. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa. Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Simad, His Divine Grace, Shilabhai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Sri Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandi BT, Founder Charya Divine Grace Shri Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jainitai Gauda Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanandana Salakaya Tapsurandaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaisnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Scha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Siti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Ipa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Praya Sabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Sakara Bhagavan Rishi. Nishreyasaya lokasya dhanyam swasyaya namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Sarabhyaya Namaha.
Om
Om
Surabhyaya Namaha.
Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vasanam pangum langaya. Morning class. So yesterday we finished the reading of the essay on Gita Nagari, and we are therefore beginning a new section from the Bhagavatam in relation to Varnashram. This is from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have heard from the 7th canto the presentation of Srila Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and now we will be hearing directly from Krishna on the topic of Varnashrama. So this is chapter 17, entitled Lord Krishna's Description of the Varnashrama System. Lord Krishna's description of the Varnashrama system. And I will read the summary. Actually, not a very long chapter. Well, okay, not so short also. Yes. There are 58 verses in this chapter, chapter 17. And then once we finish chapter 17, we will go to the next chapter, which is chapter 18, entitled Description of Varnashrama. Yeah. It's like Varnashrama is hidden in different places. And the chapter Description of Varnashrama has 48 verses. So it means that we have like 58 plus 48, we have close to 100 verses in these two chapters relating to Varnashrama Dharma. Yes. And it's kind of interesting because in chapter 17, if we look at the table of contents, there's the chapter summary that we will read this morning. And then Srila Prabhupada has broken down within each chapter some themes. So the first theme after the chapter summary is who will speak this lost knowledge? Who will speak this lost knowledge? And just to give a bird's eye view here, chapter 17, that is one topic that will be covered. Another topic, the occupational and social divisions of human society. We're pretty well aware of that. Then number 3, the proper education of children. Now that should be interesting. The fourth topic to be covered, the Acharya, a transcendental professor of spiritual science. A transcendental professor of spiritual science. And then, of interest to most people, married life would be covered. And then 2 other, the Lord uplifts those who are charitable to devotees. And the last, family association. These are like themes, right? So the last theme we can say, family association is like the brief meeting of travelers. And then chapter 18, just looking a little bit ahead here, there will be, as Prabhupada, chapter 11 and rather Canto 11 and 12 was not translated by Srila Prabhupada. It was translated by some of the senior devotees who were quite familiar with Sanskrit. So after giving a chapter summary, which is something that Prabhupada did, so therefore the devotees have continued to do that, then the first theme will be duties of a vanaprastha. Another theme, duties of a sannyasi. Number 3, a sannyasi should travel the earth alone. We're going with 20 people. A sannyasi should travel the earth alone. And nowadays, if a sannyasi tries to do that, his disciples and followers will not allow him. Another 2 other themes, the behavior of a Paramahamsa. And the last theme, self-realized soul sees nothing separate from Krishna. Yeah. So this is what we will be looking at. So we begin today with Lord Krishna's description of Madhum Arhasi. Sri Uddhava Uvacha. Yasvaya Bhita Purvam. Dharmastvad Bhakti Lakshanaha. Varnashrama-charavatam. Sarvesham Dvipadam Api. Yatha Nustiyamanena. Tvayi Bhaktir Nirinam Bhavet. Swadharnena Ravindaksha. Tanna mama kyaptumarhasi. Sri Uddhava Uvacha. Yastvaya bhita purvam
Yastvaya bhita purvam
dharmastvad bhakti lakshanaha
dharmastvad bhakti lakshana
varnasramacharavatam
varnashramacharavataam
sarvesham dvipadam api
sarvesham vipadamapi
yathanushyamanena
yathanushtiyamanena
tvayi bhaktir nrinam bhavet
त्वयि भक्तिर्नृणां भवेत्
Swadharmena ravindaksha
तदन्नेनारविन्दाक्ष
Tanmama kyatum arhasi.
तन्ममाख्यातुमर्हसि श्री उद्धव उवाच
Sri Uddhava Uvacha Yastva Yabita Purvam Dharmastad Bhakti Lakshana Varnasramacharavatam Sarvesham Dvipadam Api Yatha Nistiyamanena Tvayi Bhakti Nrinam Bhavat Sadhamena Ravindaksha Tanmamakhyatum Arhasi.
श्री उद्धव उवाच
Sri Uddhava Uvacha
यस्त्वया भीता पूर्वम्
Yastvaya Bhita Purvam
धर्मस्त्वद्भक्तिलक्षणः
Dharmastha Bhakti Lakshanaha
वर्णाश्रमाचारवताम्
Varnasramacharavatam
सर्वेषां द्विपदामपि
Sarvesham Dvipadam Api
यथानुष्ठीयमानेन
Yathanustiyamanena
त्वयि भक्तिर्नृणां भवेत्
Tvayi Bhakti Nrinam Bhavet
स्वधर्मेणारविन्दाक्ष
Sadhamena Ravindaksha
तन्ममाख्यातुमर्हसि
Tanmamakhyatum Arhasi. Sri Uddhava Uvacha
यस्त्वया भीता पूर्वम्
Dharmastad Bhakti Lakshanaha Varnasramacharavatam Sarvesham Dvipadam Api Yatha Tustiyamanena Tvayi Bhakti Nrinam Bhavet Swadhamena Ravindaksha Tanmamakhyatum Arhasi. Sri Uddhava Uvacha
श्री उद्धव उवाच
Sri Uddhava said, Yaha, which Tvaya, by you, Abhitaha, Abhitaha, described, Purvam, previously, Dharma, religious principles, Tat Bhakti Lakshanaha, characterized by devotional service to your lordship. Varna Ashrama of the Varnashrama system. Acharavatam of the faithful followers. Sarvesham of all. Dvipadam of ordinary human beings who do not follow the Varnashrama system. In another place, there is the expression Dvipada Pashu. Api, even, yatha, according to, anustiyamanena, the process being executed, tvayi, in you, bhakti, loving service, nrinam, of human beings, bhavet, may be, swadharmena, by one's own occupational duty, Aravinda Aksha,
Aravindaksha,
O lotus-eyed one,
lotus eyed one,
Tat, that,
that
Mama, to me, Akyatum,
Akyatum,
to explain,
to explain,
Arhasi,
Arhasi,
you ought.
you ought.
Translation and purport by the followers of the Divine Grace of Prabhupada. As Sri Uddhava said, my dear Lord, described the principles of devotional service that be practiced by followers of the Varnashrama system and even ordinary, unregulated human beings. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, now please explain to me how all human beings can achieve loving service unto you by the execution of their prescribed duties. Kindly repeat after me. Sri Uddhava said,
Uddhava said,
my dear Lord,
my dear Lord,
previously you described
previously you described
the principles of devotional service
the principles of devotional
that are to be practiced
that are to be practiced
by followers of the Varnashrama system
by followers of the Varnashrama system
and even ordinary,
and even ordinary,
unregulated human beings.
unregulated human beings.
My dear lotus-eyed Lord,
My dear lotus eyed Lord,
now please explain to me
now please explain to me
how all human beings
how all human beings
can achieve loving service
can achieve loving service
unto you
unto you
by the execution
by the execution
of their prescribed duties.
of their prescribed duties.
Purport. Lord Krishna has already elaborately explained the process of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Astanga Yoga. Now Uddhava inquires how those inclined toward Karma Yoga can achieve the perfection of life, Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Lord Krishna describes that he is personally the creator of the Varnashrama system. Chaturvarnyam maya system
Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam
gunakarma vibhagashaha.
gunakarma vibhagashaha.
Therefore, the ultimate goal of the Varnashrama system is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, one should become a devotee of the Lord and learn the process of pure devotional service. The easiest method of achieving pure devotional service is by the association of pure devotees of the Lord. If one submissively and faithfully associates with pure devotees, one can immediately achieve the perfection of life. A Krishna conscious person is not required to execute all the formalities of the Varnashrama system, because a Krishna conscious person absorbed in love of Godhead automatically gives up all sense gratification and mental speculation. Those human beings who do not follow the Varnashrama system are here referred to as Dvipadam, or two-legged. In other words, one who does not follow the religious path of life is known to be human only by the possession of two legs. Even ordinary animals and insects are eagerly engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The human being, however, is distinguished from such lower forms of life by his capacity to become religious and ultimately to love God in pure consciousness. Actually, the next verses don't have any purport. That's why I want to read up until number 8. Yeah, none of those have. So we'll just read to see the sequence here. Purakila Mahabahu
Purakila Mahabahu
Dharmam Paramakam Prabhu
Dharmam Paramakam Prabhu
Yat Tena Ham Sarupena
Tenaham Sarupena
Brahmane Vyatta Madhava
Ramane Vittamadava
Sa Idanim Sumahata
Saidanim Sumahata
Kalinam Kalina Mitra Karshana Napayo Bhavita Martya Loke Prag Anushasita. Translation. My dear Lord, O mighty armed one, previously in your form of Lord Hamsa, you spoke to Lord Brahma those religious principles that bring supreme happiness to the practitioner. My dear Madhava, now much time has passed, and that which you previously instructed will soon practically cease to exist, O subduer of the enemy. Text 5 and 6 also combined together without purport. Vakta karta vita nanyo
Vakta Karta Vita Nanyo
dharmasya chuttate bhuvi
Dharmasya Tate Bhuvi
sabhayam api vairincham
Vayamapi Vairicham
yatra murti dhara kalaha
Yatramurti Dhavakalaha
kartra vitra pravaktracha
Karta Vitra Pravaktacha
bhavata madhusudana
Bhavata Madhusudana
te mahi tale deva
Yakte Mahita Deva
vinastamaka pravakshati.
Nastam Prakravakshati.
Translation. My dear Lord Achyuta, there is no speaker, a creator, and protector of supreme religious principles other than your lordship, either on the earth or even in the assembly of Lord Brahma, where the personified Vedas reside. Thus, my dear Lord Madhusudana, when you, who are the very creator, protector, and speaker of spiritual knowledge, abandon the earth, who will again speak this lost knowledge? Text 7. Tattvam na sarvadharmabhya
Tattvam na sarvadharmagnya
dharmastvad bhakti lakshanaha
dharmastad bhakti lakshana
yatha yasya vidhiyeta
yasya vidhiyeta
tatha varnaya me prabho.
tatavanaye prabhu.
Translation. Therefore, my Lord, since you are the knower of all religious principles, please describe to me the human beings who may execute the path of loving service to you and how such service is to be. We have to be able to make the difference and act accordingly, isn't it? So in other words, the system of pure devotional service, which is on one platform, one level, situated above, we could say, Varnashrama Dharma. Pure devotional service is the dharma of the spirit's soul, the eternal dharma, the eternal function, activity of the liberated soul. But until one reaches that platform, the whole process or system of varnashrama dharma, which is, we could say, another dimension of dharma, is the recommended process or system that will facilitate one to come up to that higher level. So it means that we should not too prematurely abandon the whole conception of varnashrama dharma. And as we read more the commentaries from our Vaishnavacharyas, especially directly from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also Srila Prabhupada, then we can get more insights on that. So I'll come back to the introduction here. This is the summary of this chapter, chapter 17. Previously, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna had assumed the form of Hamsa and glorified the duties of the Brahmachari and Grihastha orders. In this present chapter, Lord Krishna further describes these matters to Uddhava. After Uddhava inquires from Sri Krishna about the duties of the social and religious orders of the Varnashrama society, the Lord replies that in the first age, Satya Yuga, there was only one order called Hamsa. In that age, men were automatically dedicated to pure devotional service from their very birth. And since everyone was perfect in all respects, the age was called Krita Yuga. What is the actual meaning of Krita? Huh?
I have to check. I am not very sure.
Oh, we need a few Sanskrit scholars. Krita Yoga or Krita Yuga. Well, it has to do with perfection.
The accomplished or completed age, like that. Krita. Accomplished age.
Something or someone accomplished. Yeah. Yes. So,
accomplished or completed also.
right. So in other words, just like we say of someone who's an accomplished musician, right? He's a professional musician, accomplished dancer, etc. So in Satya Yuga, this is the point being made here, people by nature were accomplished devotees. We are in Kali Yuga aspiring devotees, aspiring to become devotees, aspiring Vaishnavas, yeah. The Vedas were then manifest in the form of the sacred syllable Om, and the Supreme Lord was perceived within the mind in the form of the four-legged bull of religion. There were no formalized process of all living entities. Krishna Bhakti Nitya Siddha Sadhya Kabunai Srabanadi Sudachite Korai Udai. So in a very similar way, we could say in an identical way, the system of Varna and Asrama is that eternal because it's created by Krishna. Whatever is created by Krishna is perfect, is that eternal perfect arrangement or system for those living entities who are not yet at that perfectional stage. So both are eternal. We'll just continue here. According to how the social divisions took birth from higher and lower features of the Lord's body, they became endowed. Okay, we read that. After this description, Lord Krishna explains the natures of persons in each of the four varnas and of those who are outside the limits of the varnas. So, yeah, it's just like people who follow the law, they are called law-abiding citizens. And those who don't follow the laws, they are called outlaws, right? So in a similar way, those who follow varnashrama, they are known as followers of varnashrama, as identified by the divisions of varna and ashrama. And those who are not within the varnashrama, they are outside, like outlaw, outcast.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like someone who's what do you call it? Yeah, outlaw. As soon as he starts to follow the law, he stops being an outlaw, right? So in a similar way also, people who may presently be out of the system of varnashrama, by some good fortune, if they come in contact with people who are, and with the knowledge how to revive, then they can also become, yeah. But this Dvipada, Prabhupada refers, I mentioned a little earlier, Dvipada Pashu means two-legged animal. Normally animals have four legs. In Kali Yuga, those who are not following dharma are described as Dvipada Pashu, yeah. Because, I mean, people might find that insulting. But the idea is that, what is your level of consciousness? So the level of consciousness of animals is of a lower consciousness on the bodily platform. The level of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So therefore, our acharyas describe how if someone, although in the human form of life, has a, I was going to say developed consciousness, undeveloped consciousness of an animal, then that description is there. I'm continuing here, members of the higher orders are qualified to accept second birth. So this is Dvija. Members of the higher orders are qualified to accept second birth. Why are others not qualified to accept?
Because they want them to become leaders, and so they should be imbued with capacity to.
Because
They are to be made leaders.
they have to be made leaders.
And so they have to be imbued with the capacity to take up such roles.
Because they have to be trained to be leaders. Of course, the Dvijas we discussed before are meant to be and are in the Vedic culture the natural leaders in society. Yes, that is there. The other aspect is that it is because the Dvijas are situated in the higher modes of nature. Brahmana is in the mode of goodness. Kshatriya depends where, I've read description, either in the mode of passion or mixed goodness and passion. Mixed goodness and passion seems more accurate because a king or a kshatriya, he is meant to uphold the principles of...
Only a king is in the mixture of goodness and passion. Other soldiers who are kshatriyas are...
Well, the idea is that within the army, for example, not everyone is a kshatriya in the real sense of the sense. There are people who are, just like you'll have in the army, people who are medics. They're doctors. So it's a profession. Of course, doctor Medicine is considered a Brahminical activity. Then you'll have foot soldiers who just follow orders. Yeah, so that's more like Shudra. Yeah, so they're even within like Brahmana, because we generally see the classification Brahmana, goodness, then passion, then. So the idea is that even within Brahmana, there are different levels also, different duties or responsibilities. Let's see what is mentioned here. After receiving the sacred thread initiation, they should go to live in the Gurukula, the home of the spiritual master. Still in many families here in India, the tradition is there that the young boy, by the age of, it will depend, usually within the age of 12, he receives the sacred thread initiation, if not earlier. And then he can begin to receive training. With a pacified mind, the student, brahmachari, should absorb himself in study of the Vedas. He should keep matted hair and is forbidden to wash his teeth. I don't know about that. I mean, it is described like that, but I mean, if somebody doesn't wash his teeth, they're going to be, not properly kept. Prepare a nice seat for himself. Talk when he should keep matted hair and is forbidden. Okay, forbidden to wash his teeth, forbidden to prepare a nice seat for himself, forbidden to talk when bathing or evacuating, forbidden to cut his hair and nails, forbidden at any time to pass semen. He must regularly perform worship at the 3 junctures of the day and must render devotional service to his spiritual master in a spirit free from envy. The brahmachari must offer to the guru whatever food and other things he obtains by begging. He accepts for his maintenance whatever remnants of the Lord he is granted. He should render menial service to the spiritual master by massaging his feet and worshiping him, and should avoid all sense gratification and strictly maintain the vow of celibacy. Maybe that's why we don't have many Gurukul. Can't brush your teeth. Let's just finish this, then we can try to clarify some of this. With his mind and body and words, he should worship the Supreme Lord in the form of the Super Soul in the way prescribed for him. For brahmacharis, seeing or touching women and conversations or sports in the company of women are absolutely disallowed, forbidden, no. Cleanliness and ritual purification by water should be observed by members of all the spiritual orders of society. Everyone is also advised to always remember, naturally, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a supreme soul dwelling within the hearts of all. After studying all the different aspects of the Vedas, a Brahmana who has material desires may take permission from his spiritual master and enter family life. Otherwise, if he has no material desire, he may become a vanaprastha or sannyasi. So directly from brahmachari, one can become vanaprastha or sannyas. Or one can remain brahmachari. In the Gaudiya Math, there are many very elderly brahmacharis. The proper order, village, for example, what is meant to be ideal occupation, we are totally off in modern Indian society because we have especially those countries that are based on or who are promoting what is called secular life. Secular means without not basing one's way of life or one's belief on religion. Secular means we stay away from religion because that's something that is very personal, and of course we know over the centuries also religion, even to this day, has been one of the main reasons why so much conflict has been there in society, isn't it? And that's one reason people give also. You see, you're promoting religion, but just see what religion has done over the centuries.
Religion has not. People have. People who use religion.
People.
What?
In the name of religion, people have been fighting. That's the point, isn't it? So of course, yeah, that needs to be explained. That it's not religion per se; it's a misuse of religion, etc., like that. So it means that it does require for us as devotees, especially us who have received this knowledge in the form of the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, in the form of further elaborate and detailed explanations from, our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada as to the need and necessity and even urgency to establish Varnashrama Dharma. So it means that because that is a standing order, and because we have wonderful descriptions in the Shastra, we have very few examples in modern day society, because the world in general, even we have few examples within our own devotee society, and therefore this is also presented as an argument. Where's your model? Show us a model, and then like that. So the idea is that to create, I don't think, especially in Kali Yuga, I don't think there's going to be this, 100% model, perfect and complete. But there are communities now in different countries that are working in that direction, and one would have to visit some of those communities or read up on how they are doing things to get some kind of understanding and some kind of appreciation as to what they are doing. It's just like one of my conclusions in the survey that I did is that although we have been striving for so many years, as directed and instructed by Srila Prabhupada to establish such communities, overall we've not really done a good job. We have a few communities that are much more closer to the ideal, isn't it? Where there are many families, where the children are receiving devotee association amongst their peers, where those communities, what percentage of self-sufficiency have you reached in terms of producing your own grains, producing your own fruit, producing your own vegetables, and producing your own oil? So there's only one community that replied, we are 800% self-sufficient in producing our own grains, because we produce 8 times more than we need. The only other response for 100% came also from Ukraine in terms of oil. We are 100% self-sufficient in producing our own ghee, because the community there is focused on Goshala. It's a very traditionally in Ukraine, people were farmers even now, and they would have. I was surprised. The government, they still have to this day, maybe a little different than India. They still have this Gochar Bhumi. India has no more Gochar Bhumi. Ukraine still has.
Ukraine has land so much space, but here we are so crowded. Where we get
That is not an excuse. Because population, of course, is different between Ukraine and India. But the fact remains that that has been, so therefore the devotees, they produce. But in terms of like the majority of the communities are not scoring very high in terms of percentage of self-sufficiency. But there is an honest attempt, and there are many factors involved. And I think the bottom line, because everything has to have a bottom line, the bottom line is that either we believe in Shastra and Guru and the instructions that they are given, that they have given, which can also be verified as being very reasonable, or if we are lacking in that faith in what they are presenting, either directly from Shastra or Vaishnavacharyas, then naturally we will not be successful. But that is why it comes back, I've discussed yesterday in the last few days, it comes back to the need of educating ourselves. Unless one is having proper knowledge on any subject matter, then one will not be effective, isn't it, in that particular area. So therefore, again, Varnashram College is meant to assist or to help our devotees. But when we don't make that, when we don't recognize that as a priority, then naturally it doesn't happen, and therefore we have very less devotees involved because they're not encouraged to think in this way. They're not given the proper training, proper knowledge, proper understanding. But I was mentioning how there are people who are not devotees who are promoting what we should be promoting. It's a symptom of Kali Yuga. It's like there are people